Yeah, right. Uh-huh. Yeah, I know over there. Mm-mm. No, I told you that's the poison oak. You gotta dip it in the... Shh, look, we have company. Hi, my name is Kawa. Most people call me Eve, but that's just a common misconception. It's sort of an unusual name, but my husband gave it to me, so I refuse to change it. Some of the sheep in my pasture have trouble remembering it, so I got this pet koala to help out, but, well, he's around here somewhere. Okay, he's really not my pet. Anyway, that's not important. If you're here, then Christ must have sent you. Have you eaten yet? We have basic Hebrew, Bible stories, and Shammai. Let's start with some basic Hebrew. You know, part of what makes Hebrew so special is that each letter has a meaning of its own. Unlike English and other European languages, many Hebrew words are built by putting letters together whose meanings contribute to the meaning of the word. This will make learning and remembering Hebrew words easier for you when you move further along in your studies. Let's begin with the first letter, L. This letter is the modern equivalent of A, Alpha, or Aleph in the modern Hebrew. But in our earliest records of the Hebrew language, it was an ox. Pronounced Ah, this letter represents strength and power, like that of an ox. It can also represent a leader, someone who possesses both strength and power, like a great king, a queen, or a mighty warrior. There are 3 phases of ancient Hebrew: early, middle, and late. The ox character we just learned was most commonly used in early ancient Hebrew. The Middle Ancient, also called Paleo-Hebrew character for L, is a simpler-looking version of the ox head. Late Ancient and Modern Hebrew are very different from Early and Middle Ancient Hebrew because the language of the Israelites was changed so much through various captivities to other nations, and also from being adopted and distorted by other nations. So, for our studies, we will mostly focus on Early and Middle Ancient Hebrew. Can you draw the Early Ancient Hebrew character for L? Nice work! How about the Middle Ancient or Paleo-Hebrew character for L? Beautifully done! It looks like you're going to be pretty good at this. Would you like to learn one more? Great! I thought you would. The second letter in the Hebrew alphabet is Bet. Have you ever seen the floor plan of a house that tells you where the bedroom, bathroom, and playrooms are? Well, if you make a very simple version of that, then you have the ancient Hebrew character for Bet. Pronounced Ba. Yes, Ba. This letter represents a house, a family, or the preposition in. For example, I'm in my house. This letter is the modern equivalent of B, beta, or bet in the modern Hebrew. Can you draw the early ancient Hebrew character for bet? Remember, it's just a simplified floor plan. Excellent work! Now let's do the Paleo-Hebrew character. Just turn it sideways, close in this gap, and there you have it. The Paleo-Hebrew character for bet. Your turn. Can you draw the Paleo-Hebrew character for bet? Awesome job! It looks like you could use one more. What do you say? All right, let's do this. The third and final letter we are going to cover today. Hey, where are you going, buddy? We're not finished. Oh, I see. You were just showing our guests what the third letter represents. You see, in the early ancient Hebrew, this letter, called Gam, was a foot. Pronounced Ga, Gam resembles the foot of a stick figure drawing, and it means to walk or gather. It's the modern equivalent of G or C, Gamma in the Greek, and Gimel in the modern Hebrew. The early and middle ancient versions of Gam are very similar, so let's draw them together. Here is your stick figure foot for the early ancient. Now, just flip your foot upside down and Voila! The Paleo-Hebrew character for Gom. Pretty easy, right? You've done a great job today. Now, let's review. El, pronounced ah. Bet, pronounced ba. Gom, pronounced ga. It was a pleasure having you with us today. Hope to see you next time. Shalom. That smells good, Malachi. What you cooking? Oh, thank you. Hey, that's pretty good. Not too spicy. I see you use the bitter herbs. Got a little seasoned salt in there. Okay, I see you. Wait, should you be eating chicken though? Ah! Oh, hey, our friends are back. Welcome. We're so happy to have you. Are you ready for your next meal? Let's see, what did you have last time? It looks like we served you El, Bet, and Gom. So this time... Oh, please be careful. Let me get that for you, Malachi. The oven door is very hot. Ooh, is that a casserole? Hey, speaking of doors, that leads into our next meal for our guests. It just so happens that the fourth letter of the Hebrew alphabet, Dal, was represented by a door in its earliest form. Pronounced Da, this letter is the modern equivalent of D, delta in the Greek, or Dalet in the modern Hebrew. While it doesn't look much like the doors we have today, it might look familiar to you if you've ever been camping, say for the Feast of Tabernacles. Tents were used much more often by the early ancient Israelites, so for them, drawing the letter Dal was just like drawing a door. When you think of a door, you may think of moving from one room to another, or leaving or entering your home, school, or other building. So it's no surprise that some of the meanings attached to the letter Dal are move and entrance. Lastly, it can also mean hang. For example, you could hang a curtain to make a door for your secret fort. Much like the letter Gom, the early and middle ancient versions of Dal are very similar. So let's draw them together. Just draw yourself a nice little tent door for the early ancient Dal. Got it? Yeah, that looks great. Now for the middle ancient letter, just straighten out the edges, turn it this way, and you're all set. Let's see how you did. Perfect! You know, to me, the middle ancient character for Dal sort of looks like a backwards uppercase D. That helps me remember how to pronounce it too. Everyone has a different way of learning that works best for them, but memory tricks can be a great tool to help you learn the holy language of Hebrew. I'll give you another example. Our next letter in the Hebrew alphabet, called Hey, was represented in the early ancient language as a man with his arms raised. And it can either be pronounced Ha or be silent. So as a memory trick to help you remember the details of this fifth letter, you could imagine seeing a person nearby with their arms raised and wondering if you should say, Hey, or be silent. The letter Hey is the equivalent of Hey in modern Hebrew, and it's said by some to be similar to E in English and epsilon in Greek. But keep in mind that the similarity between Hey and E is most likely because of their similar shapes, and not how they sound or function in the language. Hey has several meanings, just like the other letters. First, it can mean breath, which makes sense since the early ancient character was a man, and man lives by God's breath of life. It can also mean look or reveal. Now, are you ready to practice drawing this letter? Let's see if you can draw the early ancient character from the pictures you've seen so far. Remember, it's just a man with his arms raised. Very nice! You have an excellent memory. Now for the Middle Ancient version. Just turn your little man's upper body sideways, and you're done. It sort of looks like a backwards uppercase E. Your turn. Another success. You're on a roll. Whoa, Malachi, what happened? Are you all right? You mean to tell me Koala knocked this oven over? It's too heavy for him. And he's our friend. He wouldn't do that. Hey, Koala. Well, at least you saved the casserole. We might have to start securing the oven if you keep making food this good. Hey, you know what? That leads into our next letter too. How would I do these transitions without you, Malachi? Our third and final letter today is Wa. Pronounced Wa, this letter has some very relevant meanings to our situation here, including hook, secure, and add. It's the equivalent of Vav in modern Hebrew and F in English, but it functions sort of like a W. The early ancient version of this letter was a tent peg. The early Israelites would use these pegs to secure their tents whenever they traveled, to keep them from being carried away by the wind. You campers will know what I'm talking about. Get the tent! Get the tent! The tent is flying away! Get the tent! Want to give it a try? Let's see your version of the early ancient Wa. Very good! You know, it sort of looks like a rounded Y. This version of Wa will be used in all Songs of Korah materials, rather than the Middle Ancient version, so make sure you're familiar with it. Nevertheless, we never skip meals in this pasture, so let's draw the Middle Ancient version together. Let's draw a slanted hook, like this, draw a line through it, and there you have it, the Middle Ancient version of Wa. I can clearly see the similarity to the letter F in this version. Can't you? Hey! How about you give it a try? Let's see your version of Middle Ancient Wa. Nice work! Way to finish strong. You are proving yourselves to be fantastic students. Christ must be so proud of you. Are you ready to review? Let's do it. Doll, pronounced da. Hey, pronounced ha, or silent. Wa, pronounced wa. That does it for today, my friends. We're looking forward to your next visit. Shalom. No, put your leg that way? I can't. I think your head goes by your tail, or... I need to watch that YouTube video again. Oh, hello again. This isn't what it looks like. Malachi and I are just taking a little break from the kitchen for some much-needed sheep shearing. All of that beautiful wool gets to be quite heavy on the sheep, especially when it gets wet, and it starts to weigh them down if left unsheared for too long. It can also trap dirt and hay when the sheep are packed into small spaces, like a barn, during the winter. This can leave them cramped and uncomfortable, and the debris makes it harder to clean and convert the wool to yarn for clothing. So here we are. I'll admit I'm not the most seasoned sheep barber. Yes! But Malachi and I would love to walk you through some more ancient Hebrew letters if you'd like to stick around. Great! In fact, your next 3 letters might actually help me through the sheep shearing process. Let's play a little game. This is your letterbox. In it, you'll find the objects associated with the next 3 letters we're learning today. Remember, each letter in Hebrew has more than one meaning, so there will be more than 3 objects in the box. All you have to do is find the object that will help me through each step of shearing the sheep. Let's see what's in your letterbox. The first thing I need to do is cut the sheep's wool. You have a basket, the great outdoors, food, mud, a blade, and a wall. Which object do I need for this first step? That's right! I need a blade, and blade goes with the letter Zan. In the early and Middle Ancient Hebrew, this letter was represented by a mattock, which is a type of pickaxe used for digging and cutting. It's not exactly a pair of sheep shears, but it's a sharp edge nonetheless. Zan, pronounced Za, is the modern equivalent of Z, Zeta in Greek, and Zayin in modern Hebrew. Since mattocks were often used in the harvesting process by the ancient Israelites, some of the meanings attached to this letter are cut, food, and nourish. Now for a little drawing practice. All 3 of our letters today look the same in both early and Middle Ancient Hebrew, so you can relax a little. Drawing the letter Zan is almost like drawing the letter Z, except the line in the middle doesn't quite reach the ends of the other 2. Want to give it a try? Spot on! Are you enjoying this episode of Songs of Koa? If you are, please consider joining my new Patreon community. Your membership will give you access to the highest quality videos without interruptions like these. Hebrew and Bible puzzles, worksheets, coloring pages, interactive quizzes, and more. As a bonus, your contribution will help me to devote more of my time to this ministry, giving you as much content as you and your family need to grow in your knowledge of the Word of Yah. It's a win-win! Just head over to patreon.com/songsofkoa, sign up to join the flock, and let the fun begin. Now, back to your wholly scheduled program. Spot on! Thanks to the blade you gave me, I've managed to shear Malachi and a few of my other sheep. But now I somehow need to keep my sheared sheep separate from the ones I haven't gotten to yet. Do you have anything in your letterbox that might help me? Ah, yes, a wall. That's perfect. You're pretty good at this game. Wall goes with the next letter, ket. Pronounced ka, this letter is said to be the modern equivalent of H, eta in Greek, and ket in modern Hebrew. But, like I said during your last meal, I think the letter hey is more like the English H, and ket doesn't really have an English letter quite like it. But back to that wall we were talking about. The early and Middle Ancient Hebrew characters for ket were a tent wall. And thinking about some of the things a wall does should help you remember the meanings for this letter. Divide, because a wall divides two spaces, or two groups of sheep. Half, because it can split a space in half. And outside, because it can be the barrier between inside and outside. Now for drawing practice. To draw ket, just make a slightly uneven wall, then draw two horizontal lines on your wall. And that's it. Your turn. Great work! Phew! All the sheep are sheared. We're almost done, but we've kind of made a mess here with all this wool scattered everywhere. Do you have anything in your letterbox to help me clean up and organize these wool clippings? Brilliant! A basket! I'll take 10. Our final letter for today, called tet, was drawn as a basket in both early and Middle Ancient Hebrew. Pronounced ta, this letter is the equivalent of theta in Greek and tet in modern Hebrew. Like ket, the symbol for tet can help you remember the meanings for it. Think of the things a basket does. It contains the things you put in it, like wool. It contains the wool by surrounding it, surround. Lastly, it can also mean mud. I don't know what mud has to do with a basket, but if you've got any ideas, leave them in the comments. Drawing tet is just like drawing the bottom of a basket. Just make a circle, then draw an X inside. I like to think of the X as the weaving of the basket. Now you try. Beautiful work! Well, friends, you're 3 for 3 on the letterbox game. We'll have to play this again sometime soon. Let's review the new letters you've learned today. Zan, pronounced za. Ket, pronounced ka. Tet, pronounced ta. Thanks for all your help today. I couldn't have done it without you. See you next time. Shalom. What? Oh, no, he didn't.
Ooh yeah.